Good morning, everybody. It's Friday. Happy Friday. We're at the end of the week and we've got assembly today. So, our theme for this week has been climate action and the environment. And we talked about life on the land, life under the water, and sustainable consumption and production, all those global goals, all linking together. And on Monday, we talked about that famous scientist. Go on, shout out his name. Who was it? That's right, David Attenborough. And on Wednesday, we talked about how the climate, the weather systems around the world had changed slowly over time. And now we've got drought in places like Mali, and we've got floods in parts of India. And we talked about the sorts of things that how different people's lives were being changed by that sort of thing. So the important thing to do is, what can we do about that? And that's what today's assembly is going to be all about. Now, on the 5th of June, so about a month ago, was World Environment Day. Okay, and what's looked at in World Environment Day is how different things are important each year, and there's a different focus. And forests were particularly important, was a really big one. I mean, they're really nice places to go to. You can walk, run, ride bikes, have a picnic. But also, forests around the world are home to more than half of our animal, plant and insect species. So if the forests went, so would most of the wildlife. And forests provide jobs for millions of people, and many of the things we use every day, like wood and paper and rubber and medicines. But most importantly, forests help to keep the air clean. Animals, like you and me, breathe in oxygen, breathe out carbon dioxide. But carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, which means it absorbs heat and holds it in the atmosphere, causing temperatures to rise. Now, this might sound like a good thing, but it actually upsets the balance of the planet and it can cause extreme weather when it happens over a long period. So things like floods and droughts, tornadoes. But fortunately for us, the trees and other plants breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen, helping to keep the amount of greenhouse gas at the right level. But the problem is, people keep cutting down forests. And at the moment, forests cover about a third of the world's land, but they're shrinking at an incredible rate. 13 million hectares of forest are destroyed every year. That's about the size of England every single year. So that sounds like a really big thing. It's one of those things that you look at and think, surely that's an adult's job. I can't do anything about that. But I bet you can. I bet there's stuff that we can do. So think about, for example, what are you going to eat? Now, it's difficult. You don't do the shopping, but you could encourage mum or dad or whoever's responsible. Don't buy bags and bags of food if there's leftovers in the fridge. Think about where the food comes from. Do you need to buy food that's come from Kenya when it can be made locally, so that we're not paying to have the food transported all the way over here? Okay. When it comes to meal times, don't be greedy. Do you need to have lots and lots and lots of food on your plate and then throw some of it away afterwards? Have smaller portion sizes. If you've got a fridge full of food that's close to its use by date, don't chuck it away. You can see if you can cook it, turn it into something. So it's called reducing your food footprint, or your food print, if you like. You'll be saving money and the environment. Okay, there's lots of other things that we can do. What we're going to have a look at is some 10 easy ways to save the planet. So 7 billion dreams, one planet, consume with care. 7 billion dreams. What do you think they are? Why do you think it's called 7 billion dreams? Tell your partner. What do you think? I think these are the 7 billion dreams for 7 billion people all the way around the world. Okay, everybody having a different dream about our one planet. So let's have a look at our 10 ways to save the planet. Okay, number 1 is reduce. Now, what I am going to say with this, when we look at things like reduce, I bet that most of you will look at it and go, yeah, I know that one. I know that one. I know that one as well. Because you all know these things. And at Wincham, we're really, really good about thinking about the environment, thinking about our global goals. So I reckon if I tell you all of these things, all 10 of these things, you'll sit there and go, yeah, I know that, I know that, I know that. But sometimes it's really, really good to have a reminder of it. Okay, so this is like a little reminder, because some of these things I looked at and thought, yeah, I know that one, but I probably need to do it a little bit more. So see if you feel the same way about that one. See if this is a little bit of a reminder, a memory jog for you. So, reduce. So we live in a society where shopping is almost a hobby, and you can go shopping if you're a bit bored. But the general rule is if you haven't got it already, then you probably don't need it. So when you're buying food, try and find things that have less packaging. If there's a choice between apples that have been grown in Britain and apples that have been flown halfway around the world, buy the British ones because it saves fuel and it encourages British farmers. So there you go. So we can reduce what we buy. So if we've done reduce, what do you think the next one is? That's right, it's reuse. So reuse things you've already got. Look at these. We know about plastic bags. We know about reusing carrier bags. And if you're asked if you want a bag, say no thanks. We get loads and loads of carrier bags. Let's start reusing them. So take a bag for life that won't split and spill your shopping all over the floor. If you've got an older brother, there's nothing wrong with hand-me-down clothes. It's a really good thing. Old jeans can look quite cool. And businesses benefit from the manufacture of sturdy shopping bags made of natural materials. So the sorts of things that can be recycled, even things like school fleeces, are made from recycled material. And we'll come on to that one because we've got recycling. Now we know about recycling. We're really, really good at it. 9 out of 10 households in Britain now have their recycling collected by the local council. And all you have to do is sort your rubbish into the different bins. And in some areas, you don't even have to do that. Everything that can be recycled goes into one bin. So what's stopping you? A new and growing global problem is known as e-waste. More and more people are buying more and more electronic gadgets, phones, computers, games consoles, Kindles, MP3 players, TVs. And because they're being upgraded regularly, there's a lot of waste. And at the moment, only about 15% of the electronics we throw away are recycled. So when you next upgrade your gadgets, don't just dump the old ones. Find a recycling centre near you that will use the raw materials your old tech contains. New recycling centres are opening all the time. Now the other option, and this is what I did when I got a new phone a little while ago, is you can give your old phone to a charity and they will recondition it and they'll send it off to people who are working for worthy causes in the developing world. So your phone doesn't need to be thrown away, it can be used by somebody else if you don't need it. So there you go, we've reduced, reused, recycled. That's number 3. We're on to number 4. Use FSC products. And this is the one that's going to help save the forests. The Forest Stewardship Council, that's complicated, Forest Stewardship Council, puts its logo on products like paper, card and wood and Christmas trees to say they've come from forests that are sustainable. In other words, when trees are cut down, they're replaced by more. And as more people switch to using FSC products, more businesses will start selling them and using them. So I went for a run in Delamere Forest last week, I think, and there was a massive patch where I ran through and thought, oh, this looks different. And there were no trees there. The trees had all been cut down and it looked awful because I like running through the forest where there's big trees, and I looked a little bit more closely. And now what you can see is this big open space where all the trees have been chopped down, and the trees there are that big and they're all spaced apart, and it might take 10 or 20 or 30 years, but those tiny trees will get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until they can be chopped down again. And it's called responsible farming. So it's like farming when you're growing vegetables and crops, but it's just trees and it just takes a long time. So those trees will have that FSC mark on them when they're used as well. Okay, next one is, I've gone on too far, saving energy. Okay, lots of easy things we can do. We know about these. So tell other people in your class or your family about saving energy. What would you do? Lots of ideas. So pause your video if you need to. Well done. Turn off the lights when you leave the room. Only fill the kettle with as much water as you need. Turn the TV off at the wall instead of leaving it on standby. Replace any old style filament bulbs. Use a washing line instead of a tumble dryer. Turn the heating down a little bit and wear a hoodie to keep warm. Lots of simple ideas, and all of them save a little bit of energy and help to save the environment. So next one, number 6, saving water. Now this is another really easy one. You can have a shower instead of a bath. Don't put the washing machine with just one sock in it or 2 things. Wait until it's a full load. Don't leave the tap running when you're brushing your teeth. That's really important. You can waste loads of water that way. Turn the tap off while you brush your teeth and then rinse your brush afterwards. You can also not flush the toilet every time you use it. And the way to remember whether to flush the toilet or not is if it's brown, flush it down. But if it's yellow, let it mellow. But don't do that at school because the boys' toilets are smelly enough already. So, but it saves water that way. Okay, so saving water. Next one. Take the bus, not the car. So every time you go in the car, there's the exhaust from your car. So if 20 of you go in your car, there's 20 car exhausts. But if 20 people go on the bus, there's only one bus exhaust. So you could take the bus or train or tram instead of insisting that mum gives you a lift somewhere. And it means you get to chat with your family on the bus too, and you can all travel together, which would be really lovely. Number 8 is bike, not bus. So a bike to school or a walk to school. Not only are you helping to save the planet by cutting down on those greenhouse gases so there's no fumes from your car, but you'll also get yourself fit. So it doesn't have to be just biking, you could walk. It's really, really good for you to do your 10,000 steps every day, keep everybody fit and healthy. Okay, next one. Go biodegradable. Biodegradable washing up liquid or washing powder doesn't pollute the water and doesn't kill fish. And the more people who buy it, the more companies make it, and the more incredible it's going to seem that we ever used anything else. So your washing up liquid, your washing powder can pollute streams when it goes out from the waste pipes into the water. So the more biodegradable stuff that you use, the better it is. Right, number 10, grow your own. So who grows their own fruit and veg at home? I wonder if some of you have got tomatoes growing, maybe in a greenhouse, maybe outside. You could try planting things like tomatoes, potatoes or courgettes. They're ever so easy to grow. You don't need a greenhouse. You don't need a massive garden. You could just put a grow bag or have small pots where you've got herbs and chilies to spice up your food. Anything you grow yourself cuts down on transport costs and greenhouse gas emissions. So there we go, guys. However much or however little you choose to do, it helps to make the world a cleaner, brighter, happier place to live. So what I want you to do is I want you to have a think and be mindful, be aware today. Don't just think about the resources that you've got. Don't think about wasting things, but think about what you can do with it afterwards. Okay? Look around our planet. Look around as you walk home, as you go on your have your daily exercise, as you play out in the garden or on the playground or on the school field, and look about and think how lucky we are to have this green space. Not everybody has that. And you can really enjoy that space as well. Make the most of it, but we have to work to look after it as well. Okay, so see what you can do to help the environment today. All right, there you go, guys. So that's Friday's assembly. Have a lovely, lovely weekend. See if you can do some of that saving of the environment. Even if you just get out on your bike or get out and have a run or a walk somewhere this weekend. Okay, bye-bye. See you soon.